Hi, folks. You ever notice Democrats treat reality the way they treat taxes? Bend it, break it, and pretend it's still working? Case in point, Kamala Harris. She'll stand on stage calling Trump a communist dictator, but the second her own book tour gets heckled, she's begging everyone to calm down like a substitute teacher losing control of the class. And while she's fumbling the mic, her lunatic base is busy peddling kids' books that encourage children to show up to pride parades without clothes on. Because apparently grooming now comes with story time. Let's roll this clip, unfortunately.
The sidewalk outside is filled with people waiting for the parade to start. Everyone is wearing whatever makes them feel most like themselves. Even if that means wearing hardly anything at all.
What? You know, I don't see how any reasonable person could hear that and not think something deeply inappropriate is going on in the form of grooming. Why are adults talking to little kids about being half naked at a parade? Parades that in recent years have often been filled with explicit displays by old men just flopping their balls around. Something clearly inappropriate for children. Why? Please, somebody tell me why this is considered acceptable in what they're now calling a pride church. How is this normal? Because this is exactly the cultural path the Democrats have chosen, erasing boundaries, erasing innocence, and creating an environment where children can effectively be molested. That's what we're witnessing here, folks. And let me make one thing absolutely clear. Children should never be used as an audience for sexual themes, period. You don't talk to kids, especially kids who aren't your own, about adult sexuality, especially gay sex. So where does this strange obsession from Democrats come from? Why do activists feel so compelled to push sexual content into childhood spaces under the banner of inclusion? It's not education, it's indoctrination, it's grooming. And what it really reveals is the end stage collapse of a movement that no longer knows the difference between freedom and exploitation, between rights and outright recklessness. This isn't progress. It's proof of how far institutions have fallen. And look, let me make this absolutely clear. I live by the Christian principle of loving the sinner but hating the sin. What you choose to do in your own private life is between you and God. You'll deal with those consequences yourself. Statistically, the outcomes aren't good either, and that's just reality. But still, it's your life. It's your choices. At the end of the day, I'm not here to judge what happens inside your own four walls. What I will not tolerate and what I will fight against every single time is when that lifestyle, that elective choice of being like that gets pushed onto children. That line should never be crossed. Adults can make their decisions, but kids must be protected at all costs, period. Now, obviously, that's not something Democrats agree with. They have a completely inverted idea of who should be protected in American society, and you guessed it, it's definitely not the American citizen.
This community is my community and I relate to them. Obviously, I'm an immigrant that is a citizen that is documented, but there are so many folks like myself who come here to make their lives a little bit better and easier, and they don't have simple things like a way to get to work or school. And we can do that. We have the power to do that. And I ran for office because I think that our job is to make people's lives easier.
All right. No, actually, your job is to serve your community, the people who pay taxes, who pay your salary, who put you in that privileged position of leadership. That's what public service means. It doesn't mean standing up for foreign nationals from the country you left behind out of some lingering allegiance. Your job is to the American people, the tax-paying citizens who gave you the opportunity to come here legally, gain citizenship, and enjoy the blessings of this country. As you admitted yourself, everything you've built has been made possible by the very system Americans created. The government, the infrastructure, the institutions, the economy, the businesses. So your first responsibility is to them and to them alone. And that's the broader issue here, folks. Too many elected Democrats now see their office as a platform to champion non-citizens while neglecting the very people they swore to represent. It's a dangerous inversion of duty, and it erodes not just our trust in government, but the very idea of American citizenship itself. In America, your oath is supposed to be to the voters who elected you into office, second only to God, not to a global constituency that never casts a single ballot and is honestly not even that invested in this country. But you know, when it comes to Democrats, there is always a more brain dead take to go to. And let's thank Joy Reid for this one. Well, she didn't say it, but she did feature it on her podcast.
What we found out, Joy, and this pains me as an American, other countries were laughing at him and laughing at us. I want to tell you all something about Pakistan. My parents are from Pakistan. It's a country with many challenges. My cousin came here from Pakistan, studied, went back. He was about to come to America. You know what he said? He goes, hey, man, I was about to buy a ticket to America, but things look really bad. I'm just going to stick back in Karachi. When people in Pakistan are looking at us and they're like taking pity,
yeah,
Joy,
we feel sorry for you. It's a problem.
Folks, I'm going to say this bluntly. I have zero time for a foreigner's opinion of America. I could care less what they think about us or our president. But I'll tell you what I do find good. People choosing not to come here anymore. That's called deterrence. Let's make one thing clear, folks. This narrative that people in other countries are suddenly rethinking America because they've discovered it's a terrible place to live in is a lie. America is still the greatest country on earth. What's really happening is people now know that if they break our immigration laws, they will face consequences. There's no Biden-style free pass anymore, no open door policy, no second chances to do whatever they want without accountability. There's a new sheriff in town, and they realize they can't get away with the same games they've been playing for years because of soft Democrat immigration policies. And that's a good thing. Deterrence saves money, protects our communities, and stops problems before they start. It's the same principle as intercepting a threat before it arrives here. The same principle applied to blowing up that drug-filled boat outside the coast of Venezuela instead of allowing it to land in America and then having to trace the drugs. If you stop it at the source, then you don't have to spend all these resources to gather it all up and then properly process it. That's not cruelty, by the way. It's just common sense. America is full, okay? And it's more than okay to say that. Anyway, while America's full, Kamala Harris is full of it.
About how and why you are saying what you are saying now and how I felt about it. You're not letting me talk. You know what? I respect your right to speak. Temperature down, unlike the current president of the United States.
All right, well, that was a perfect example of why Kamala Harris would have been a disastrous president. She let the situation spiral out of control, offered no real command, and then blurted out this weak, muddled plea, bring the temperature down, like a retired middle school teacher. Honestly, it was one of the worst displays of authority I've ever seen. Profoundly weak, profoundly cringeworthy. And here's the kicker. The protester didn't stop talking because of her. They stopped because the audience clapped over them to drown them out. That's not leadership. That's just luck and your side trying to protect you. And it's revealing, isn't it? She'll stand on national television and call Trump a communist dictator, but when her own event gets hijacked, suddenly she's desperate for calm and order. This is Kamala in a nutshell. Loud when it's safe, paralyzed when it counts. And now instead of running for governor or holding any real office, she's reduced to hawking these dumb books and fumbling through these Q&As. It's not the arc of a leader. It's the slow fade of someone who was never ready for the job. So what we're left with goes beyond your typical politician fumbling, the LGBT movement overreaching, or institutions collapsing. It's about us. How long are we willing to accept a culture that rewards weakness, excuses hypocrisy, and sells chaos as compassion? How many times will we let the same narratives be spoon-fed to us before we start asking who benefits from them and at what cost? These moments aren't isolated, folks. They're signals of a deeper unraveling. And if we don't start paying attention, if we don't sharpen our skepticism and reclaim a sense of responsibility, then the story of America won't be written by leaders who serve us, but by ideologues who manipulate us. So the real question that we're facing now is, are we awake enough to see all of that and bold enough to say no when the time is right? You tell me what you think in the comments down below. Hope you have a terrific day. Peace.